I've been using this Laguna Supermax 1938 drum sander for about a year, and I just realized I hadn't done a proper review on it. So I'll take you through all the things that I've learned on this, both the good and the bad, and luckily any issues I've had with it I've been able to solve with some simple tune-ups, and I've done videos on those along the way. So be sure to check out all my video resources and links down in the description box, but let's get into the review. The casters were a definite must for me, and these are total lock casters, so it does give you a nice stable base. And one of my favorite upgrades I did for this was just enclosing the lower base and let you sneak in there and grab your sandpaper rolls. And I do have a separate how-to video on the process for enclosing this particular metal stand, so if you have this one, it's an easy follow along. Otherwise, if you have a similar stand, you can easily change the plans up to slightly modify them. The accessory tables on this are great. I don't really consider them optional, although they are an add-on. You know, some people say they're flimsy because they can go higher than they normally would, but this is the position where they lock down, and in that low position they actually are quite firm and supportive. The finish on them does get scratched up more than some of the other planar in-feed and out-feed supports that I've used, but overall they're plenty sturdy, and I just really like having those on board. The outfeed support folds up and down just the same, and that's nice because it doesn't get in the way even with the stand enclosed now. There is a little bit of a pinch point, so it's kind of a learning curve to figure out where you need to press to avoid pinching your fingers, but it's nice that they tuck down out of the way for storage. Dust collection on this machine is just excellent through a single 4-inch port, and I'd love to be able to credit my C-Flux machine, but you know, I've tried it with other dust collectors and it works just fine. So as long as you have a standard dust collector with a 4-inch hose, I think you'll do a great job collecting the fine dust. Now hopefully you have a cyclone so you can separate it out, because it does create a very fine dust, but both my collectors are cyclones, so that hasn't been an issue for me. Alternately, you could use some sort of a separator just so you don't clog up your filter. Now the dust shroud on this is all metal, and that's a big improvement over my last drum sander, which was a Jet 1632. Now if you ever forget to turn on dust collection with this, you'll quickly realize just the volume of fines that come off of this thing. But when you have the dust collector running, honestly, you don't see a thing. It just stays incredibly clean, so it's easy to overlook, but the dust collection is just so impressive on this model. But the dust collection was pretty good on my last model too, so maybe it's more common to have efficient dust collection on these things now. But hey, do me a favor, anytime you're inside the machine, unplug things. It's just not to be trifled with. One advantage of this machine over my last one is this end of the drum. What I used to have happen on my old machine was an overlap. There was always right in this area, the first or second wraps of this would overlap, and of course that would create a little hot spot, and you'd get burning and scorching on your wood, and then you'd quickly trash your paper. And I've noticed the spring-loaded mechanism on this is much better. It just has a longer travel, and so it's able to take up more of the slack, and the result is no overlap and much better quality sanding. Now I see people using the included special tool for that, but really there's no need to. Just unplug it, put your finger in there, and you can easily release it. And it's the same thing on this side. Nice spring-loaded mechanism, but that one on the other side of the drum really has a long throw to it, and I've appreciated that. It just makes all the difference the way it holds that paper. You can wipe your drum down once in a while, and we'll just reinstall that same paper because it was in pretty good shape. Typically I'm just using 80 grit, and then I might swap up to 120. If you're only going to buy one grit for your machine, I would definitely go with 80 or 100 might be a good choice depending on how rough the panels are you're working with. When you're loading paper, you always want to start on the left side of the drum here, and there'll be an angled portion if you get pre-cut strips, and that angled cut faces the open end of the drum. And so basically just pull that spring with your finger, drop that in a bit so that the sandpaper fills most of that little slot opening there, and you can start rolling it up. Keep a little bit of space between the rolls here so you don't overlap, and you actually want heat to be able to expand the paper slightly without causing any issue. So it's a little bit difficult to visualize, but it's easy to do. Just bend the end of your sandpaper back a little bit, And then what you want to do is retract that spring, and what most people do wrong is they don't pull it far enough. You need to pull it all the way up to the drum, insert the end of your abrasive roll fully, and then just release that spring. And you'll feel it kind of develop some tension there. I usually just run that for a few seconds and make sure that there's still a little gap there and nothing is overlapped. Looks good. So, you know, an abrasive cleaning looks like a giant eraser is really important to have. I'll drop one down in the description box so you can find one, but this will help to maintain and extend the life of your abrasives. And I just love that I can get in that enclosed base, whether I have the tables up or down. That's just been really handy for me. Another thing I really like about this model is how sturdy the height adjustment crank is. Comparing it to past models that I've had, it's just much more robust. There's absolutely no backlash in it, and you know, if your drum sander has a lot of backlash in the height adjustment crank, basically it limits how accurate the machine can be, and no problem in that regard with this one. And of course, when you're sanding down a panel, you'll make only very small adjustments, maybe 1/8 or 1/4 turns at a time. I also find the motor very powerful on this one. It's got a 1 3/4 horse motor, and that's almost like something you'd find on a bandsaw. So maybe a little bit overkill, but it's definitely a nice thing when you're sanding very wide panels. The largest panel I put through this thing is 60 inches long by 27 inches wide, and it just worked great. Now, I did go through my growing pains with this machine, and what I actually had was a problem similar to snipe, except for it wasn't on the end. It was throughout the middle of the panel. Just occasionally you'd get a little gouge mark across the width of the panel, and that can be really frustrating if you don't know what that's coming from or where to solve it. But luckily I have a video resource on that one. It's 5 tips to solving that sort of a problem if you're getting gouges or lines in your panels. And it goes over things like the roller bar height and downward pressure, the drum calibration, and some other details like how to set your tables level and wax up the tables. So important reminders. So if you just drop down in the description box, you'll find that video link so you can just tune up your machine in a hurry. The take-home message on that is anything that lets the board slip or stall as it's passing through the machine will just let the drum create extra revolutions and kind of dig into the workpiece. So to avoid that, you'll be doing things like tensioning and tracking the belt. And luckily there's onboard tools to do that. It's a pretty simple procedure, just like upkeep on a home treadmill. And tips like that are all covered in that video. And in fact, here's a little chalk tick mark that I made from my adjustment procedures. And basically what I like to do is make a small adjustment and then let the belt go around 4 times to see how that affects the machine. And if you have a question about this machine or drum sanders in general that I didn't cover, by all means hit me up in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer it for you. So if you can get your hands on this sander, I think it will be a good one for you, especially if you follow some of my tune-up tips to get the drum alignment just right and to set your tension and tracking, as well as the roller bar adjustments. Once all those things are dialed in, boy, this thing really sands nice. So drop down to the description box if you're looking for links to this sander, as well as some of the accessories that I typically use with it. But thanks for watching. If you hit me with a quick thumbs up or subscribe to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it.